Hello, I'm Morgan and I'm representing Team Nucleus. There are a few things that we would like you to know about the nucleus other than the fact that it is clearly the most prominent organelle in the cell. I mean, look at it. It is clearly the first thing you see and think of when you look at a cell. But anyways, the nucleus is the most obvious and important organelle in eukaryotic cells. It is only in eukaryotic cells, not prokaryotic cells. The nucleus is the control center of the cell because it is in charge of controlling and regulating all activities that go on within the cell. It communicates with other organelles through its tiny nuclear pores in the nuclear envelope. If it wouldn't be for the nucleus, the cell would be chaos on the inside and it would die at a young age, just like prokaryotic cells. In addition to this, the nucleus protects its special contents from the rest of the cell. So now you're probably thinking about special contents. Well, let me tell you. The nucleus is bound by a double layer that cushions and protects its very important contents. Inside of the nucleus, chromatin can be found. All DNA is found in this area of the cell because it is very important material and it needs to be protected. DNA is in charge of everything, from providing a cell with its specific traits to controlling the cell's growth and reproduction. If it wasn't for the nucleus, DNA would become damaged, which would clearly be bad. The nucleus is also the part of the cell where DNA is transcribed. On to the nucleolus. Another tiny structure inside of the important nucleus is the nucleolus. The nucleolus is in charge of the production of ribosomes, which are critical in the process of protein synthesis. Proteins are needed in every single life function, and if it weren't for the nucleolus, the process wouldn't happen and life would cease to exist. Other interesting facts about the nucleolus are that it watches over the mRNA, it is the stress sensor of the cell, and is in charge of elongating the cell's life. So basically, the nucleus is critical to the cell. If it wasn't for the nucleus, the cell would die because of chaos and a lack of the nucleolus creating the cell's longevity. If it wasn't for the nucleus, DNA would become damaged and cell reproduction would happen incorrectly. If it wasn't for the nucleus, there would be no ribosomes to help create the proteins that are needed for every bodily function. Bottom line, no nucleus means no long life. We would be, in essence, a prokaryotic cell that lives for a very short time and then dies. If it wasn't for the nucleus, I wouldn't be making this speech right now. On to a happier note now. I'm sure that you have heard a few negative things now about the nucleus, some of which are irrelevant. For example, we're bossy and we're not the brain in the cell? Wrong. Because being bossy is not what the nucleus is about. And we are the brain of the cell because we observe and regulate the cell's functions. Also, we have heard that the nucleus is the cause of wrinkles. But guess what? They sell wrinkle cream. At least we aren't like those other guys who cause diseases and are just full of problems.
Hi, I'm Brutus.
Hi, I'm the mitochondria.
Did you know that over 2 million Americans are affected per year by mitochondrial disease? This disease causes mitochondria to not be able to produce energy for the cell and simulates a blackout. This disease is fatal and very common in Americans. There is no cure for it, and it is very possible that it leads to cancer and other major diseases. So why vote for mitochondria?
You're right, Brutus. Don't vote for me because I am unreliable. Hi, I'm the cell membrane.
The cell membrane cannot protect us from everything. Its job is to keep the good things in and keep the bad things out. But if something is small enough and is toxic, it can get through the membrane all on itself. And if that happens, it can cause death to the cell and even the organism. Toxins can cause hormone imbalances, and the rigid cell wall, which affects the travel of red blood cells, and defects in the cell membranes cause blood sugar problems. That's just to name a few of the issues with the cell membrane.
You're right. I am an untrustworthy protector. Don't vote for me.
ASA, I'm the chloroplast.
The chloroplast is only in plant cells. Do I have to say anything else? We have mitochondria to create our energy.
Well, I guess you're right. The chloroplasts were working together with the mitochondria. There'd be too many energy-producing organelles. That'd just be terrible. Don't vote for me.
Hi, I'm the cytoskeleton.
The cytoskeleton is an organelle that supports the cell. It is able to stretch, break, and then grow together again to fulfill the cell's needs. It is the skeleton of the cell. However, if the filament and proteins of the cytoskeleton is not formed correctly, the cytoskeleton can cause problems for the cell. The cell will become useless if this occurs, and it does occur frequently. For example, if the cytoskeleton of a sperm is not correctly formed, it prohibits movement and eventually will cause infertility. Another disease that the cytoskeleton contributes to is heart disease.
You're right, Brutus. I have terrible form, and I shouldn't even be an organelle. Don't vote for me.
Crikey, mate. I'm the endomembrane system.
The endomembrane system is a system of cellular membranes that divides the cell into organelles and functional groups. It is also in charge of transporting and storing molecules throughout the cell, as well as producing proteins and lipids. It is a very busy organelle and often has a lot of trouble keeping up with the workload. This system is a fault for many diseases such as cystic fibrosis, skeletal and cardiac muscular diseases, and even diabetes. It splits up the cell into functional groups, but in turn has too much work for itself.
Well, I guess I do cause a lot of diseases. I'm just too busy for one cell.
Yes, I win. I'm clearly the most important organelle in the cell. I've proved everyone else wrong. Without me, there is no cell.
You're such a great organelle, Brutus. You proved our point that the nucleus is the most important organelle of the cell. He is in charge of the cell's functions, he protects our DNA, he makes ribosomes, which are critical in protein synthesis, and the worst thing that the nucleus causes is wrinkles. So vote nucleus, because it is the most important organelle in the cell.